And welcome back to the live studio coming at you from Amsterdam. I am so glad to have all of you with us. Remember, keep reaching out to us on social media using hashtag Cisco Live EMEA. My name is Steve Moulter, and it's a delight to be with you. Let's talk sustainability now for a while. It's one of the core tenets, a huge aspect of who we are and what we do here at Cisco and at every Cisco Live that we attend. And we always love to talk sustainability because it's so important in the way we do business. We are charting the path for a sustainable AI future that is energy efficient. We are advancing circular economies. We are advancing efficient, smart buildings. There are so many ways that Cisco is leading the sustainability charge all around the globe. And right now, Rob Boyd is out in the sustainability zone to share a little bit of that with us. Rob, can you hear us?
Yeah, look at me. Hey, sorry. Just heard you coming over here, Steve, and there's so much happening here in the sustainability zone. In fact, I'm going to try and cram in about 4 different interviews. But first, I want to get the lay of the land with Angelo. Angelo, you're Director of Sustainable Solutions. Explain what we mean by sustainable solutions and what it is we're working on here.
Well, we are surrounded by sustainable solutions. So this is the second year we have the Cisco Sustainability Zone here at Cisco Live. So what we are showing here is a very simple concept. It's the concept of IT footprint, handprint, and heartprint. It's actually how we can reduce the impact of IT in terms of energy consumption. How can we leverage IT to drive more savings in terms of energy, in terms of resources, in terms of food, like we're showing there in the IoT for sustainability. And last but not least, how we can leverage the IT for driving goods, the Cisco crisis management. So I want to drive one message home here. We have multiple solutions here that are not only addressing the climate change challenge, they're addressing a business challenge, how to better use resources, how to optimize the use of energy, how to optimize or reduce the waste. So that is about sustainability, and you can see all of this here at the Sustainability Zone. Come and visit.
Perfect, you heard it there. Come and visit. We're going to visit with a few more of your peers here. Thank you very much. There's so much going on here, so many booths, quite a few people here, but one of the things, of course, that we want to talk about in regards to this subject, Tripta. We've worked with Tripta for many years, in many different capacities. You're working on energy management. What's the right way to think of this?
I would say energy management is critical and table stakes right now for all the customers, and a couple of reasons, right? A lot of governments, legislations are making carbon disclosure reporting mandatory, whether it's the CSRD in the European Union or the SB 253 law in California. All large companies have to be reporting on their carbon emissions going forward. Second, I think it's a big business imperative. Cisco is a networking company. We've always been at the forefront of optimizing on innovations, whether that's on software or hardware. If we can enable energy efficiency for customers and generate power savings for them, it's a win-win for everybody. So it's a business imperative. It's going to impact both top line and bottom line growth. With the macro environment we saw recently, energy inflation, rising costs, everybody wants a way to insulate against rising costs. And I think the fourth thing is Cisco has a net zero goal. We want to get to net zero by 2040, right? And we want to actually reduce our scope 3 category 11 emissions by 30% by 2030. That's the electricity consumed through the use of our products sold. And the more impact we make on that, it's actually going to elevate that to the next level by enabling our customers to also reduce their greenhouse gas emissions with energy efficiency.
That's excellent. Tripta, thank you so much. Guys, the thing is when it comes to energy management, when it comes to being sustainable, there's all levels, of course, that this could operate at, but we have to start now because we're dealing with limited resources now, not later, and it's going to come competitive. I think I've got Christopher here. How you doing? I was like,
good.
Well, where are you? I knew I had one more to go. So I want to talk to you more specifically about data center. We talked about modernization. Sure. What is it meant by data center modernization in the context of sustainability?
Sure. Well, as I'm sure you've heard from Tripta and some of my other colleagues, the first thing you have to actually know is where you're starting from before you can think about modernizing. So the first thing you have to do is actually start collecting data on how much power you're using, how efficiently you're using your data center. So I'm going to take that as a starting point. Once you figure out where you are, you can then start coming up with plans on where you're going. First thing you start thinking about is finding the easy things to solve, the really inefficient kit, be it very power hungry, places where you're just not really utilizing the kit, start replacing some of that. That's the easy, low-hanging fruit. Once you start doing that, then we start looking at things where you can start leveraging more modern technology, be it going to higher bandwidth links, which allow you to collapse not only the power, reduce the power and get more bandwidth for the same amount of power, more compute for the same amount of power, but also reduce space, which allows you to reduce the size of your data center, reduce the amount of space you're cooling, reduce the amount of steel and raw materials you're using. That's sort of your next step. And then we start getting into some of the more esoteric things where people are now starting to focus. Things like liquid cooling. Is it time to start bringing in liquid cooling, where liquid is a much more efficient way to cool your data center, and you can start going from spending, maybe reducing, instead of saving a couple of percent of power, maybe saving 20, 30, 40% of the power in your data center by switching your cooling fluid from air to liquid. Switching from AC to DC power in your data center, which might save you, again, tens of percent of power by removing all the AC-DC conversions and DC to AC conversions. So those are longer term things, but as you start talking about rebuilding your data center as your power requirements go up with AI and other things, maybe it's time to start thinking about bringing in some of these more modern technologies.
Well, it's funny because I think, usually we think of liquid cooling being so esoteric, but with the level of compression, with the level of size and consolidation we're doing now, there's no room for air to remove heat. It just doesn't work anymore. We're seeing vendors build that in. I apologize if I cut you off, Christopher, but thank you. I got one more stop I want to make, talk about real estate. Let's see if we can catch on. Andrew's got a booth over here. There's literally something to do at every spot within here so that you can ask questions. Let's sneak in here. How are you doing, sir?
Doing well, how about you?
Very good. So Andrew, correct?
Yes.
So you're focused on real estate. What's important to understand about real estate in the context of sustainability?
Oh, there are a few things that's happening right now, right? Some of our partners are actually looking at changing social norms after the pandemic, right? So a lot of things that how people actually interact with the buildings have changed, right? Going to the workplace is no longer mandatory, it's no longer a perk, it's actually a norm, right? So that means a lot of commercial buildings are going unoccupied, and for those buildings that are occupied, you have very volatile attendance because everybody choose to go to work on Wednesday maybe, but nobody on Monday and Friday, right? So the management of the resources, how you distribute that, and without actually compromising the user experience, is becoming more challenging, right? The second piece is actually sustainability. Sustainability has become such a focus. You have government agencies coming up with incentives, regulations, requirements about reporting, about carbon reduction all over the place.
I'm going to have to cut you off. I apologize because we've got to go to the iTalk, so I'll go back to the studio now, guys, so we stay on time.